On May 28th, 2011, in an exhausted daze while sorting through the raspberries during a morning shift at my job at a local grocery store, I happened upon this thing. This thing is very comparable to a booger that moves around with a shell on its back. This thing is very comparable to a turd with tentacles. At 7:30 a.m. on May 28, 2011, I fell in love with a turd with tentacles. Funny thing is that not even a couple years prior to this, I had been completely devastated by finding a snail in a container of raspberries. Devastated enough to make a video called Bailey's Bad Day. Who knew that during a similar occurrence, one of these little poops would find a place in my heart? I brought her home in a coffee mug that I'm a bit disturbed to admit I still use from time to time. Right away I regretted the whole thing. She was no longer the cute little snail perched up on a raspberry, but now a slimy, stinky butthole that seemed to have exploded out of her shell. I'm not gonna lie, I wanted to give up on her right away, but my dear mother cleaned her up, put her in a nice jar, and right there and then, gazing deep into her tentacles, I knew there was no going back. Unfortunately, there was no going back. I'm not here to say that it was all good times. I'm not gonna lie and say that all of our days were spent together splashing on the beach and sharing heartfelt promises of always being there for each other. That happened once in a while, but if I'm being honest, most of the time this thing made me want to puke in my mouth. Opening the jar over a week of neglect had me gagging up a storm. And then you got to wait for 20 minutes to actually get her out of the jar, 'cause she's a snail. Snails are slow. It's kind of their thing. I guess she taught me a lesson in patience and not speeding my way through life. But mostly she taught me, for the love of God, snails are slow. Oh God, you must be extra careful not to touch her the wrong way, or else she will spaz out and curl back into her shell. God, that was annoying. Kind of adorable, but mostly annoying. Anyway, staring at her jar from my bed often had me wondering, as I do with most caged animals, was she happy? Did a safe, warm place to stay, regular meals, a loving hand, did any of this bring her joy? Was I really a hero on the morning of May 28th? Or does she look back on that day as the beginning of the end? Does she spend her nights dreaming happy snail dreams about fields of green? Or does she suffer from night terrors thinking about all the ways her life could be different if she didn't happen upon that raspberry that day? Maybe she didn't even like raspberries. Maybe that was all just a tragic accident. Hell if I know. I stopped putting fruit in her jar a few months after finding her. I often thought about setting her free. What captured my attention about her most that morning was her liveliness and curiosity about the world around her. Staring up at me, this monster of a thing, she showed no fear, and she waved her little tentacles at me. And now that exact thing that charmed me about her is the exact thing that I have been crushing with every passing day I held her captive in this jar. I dreamed about setting her free so she could live her life of adventure, no matter how short or how long it may be. But I just couldn't get over the fact of setting her free, only to have her stepped on or slurped up by a dog moments after. This is just something I couldn't not consider. So instead, I let her live her safe life, only getting basic needs met every day. Nothing more. This jar with the snail in it was a constant reminder that in life, you have a choice. You can choose to live a safe life. You can choose to get your basic needs met, surrounded by a close-knit group of people who care about you. Or, you can choose to stray away from that. You can break free of that routine that will surely get you by from day to day. Break free into a life of not knowing. Take risks. Take chances. And break away. Will that necessarily make you happier? No one can really know. Unfortunately, Lisa the snail can never make that decision for herself. Is this a testament to my own life? The fact that I kept her in this jar, does that mean I'm living my life too safe? Or does that mean I just care for things too much? Even for a booger that moves with a shell on its back. Either way, I hope my snail does not resent me for this choice I made. I hope somehow she knew she lived in this jar out of love. All that I can hope is that wherever she is now, she is free. Rest in peace, Lisa the snail.
In your home. Here you go. Into your home. She doesn't like this part. There's fresh food in there. Look at how slimy that is. Look at the slimy bum. Hi, Lisa. And she's like, wait, no. Oh, it's too late. I'll squash her.